So I tell myself like, hey, I'm gonna keep consistent with the upload schedule, and then I make a commitment by talking about it previously on the last one, but then I don't follow through for the stupidest of reasons. Uh, so I just to give some explanation, I before I had another channel that I had planned to upload a bunch of content onto, but over time I kind of just lost interest and I never kept up with it. So then that channel I had made on its own account and then I abandoned it. So the account that I'm using right now is kind of just like my personal account, and I started uploading here because I just thought it was more convenient. And the idea was just to like get into like the mode, like just get into like the habit of uploading random stuff and just like making stuff. And because of that, I I wanted to be a lot more consistent with it. Just learn how to consistently make stuff. But then eventually I was kind of just thinking like, hey, I mean, if I post here all the time and if I use this account already, why not just make this the main account anyway? Um, I didn't want to do that because it's my personal account. But then I'm like, I mean, it's not gonna hurt anybody. It's not like much is going on, you know. So, um, the two shorts. Well, the first short I made was uploaded to my original account, and then I re-uploaded it here, and then I made the second one. Um, I made the second one, and then I re-uploaded the first one, so it was one after the other. Uh, so uh, hopefully I can be a little more consistent. The problem that short I had made like a year ago, and the newest one I made, I finished it. It only takes me like it should take me like around like 2 days to finish. It takes me a little bit longer because I'm a lazy asshole, and I procrastinate like a dipshit. But yeah. I usually get held up with other projects. But hopefully I won't. I don't know. Maybe a fire will be lit on my ass to actually like, continue. But anyway, I I'll press load again, and hopefully it saves. It's kind of creepy that there is no noise. Oh shit! Sorry, I had to turn on the volume. Uh, this is me. All right, today's May 5th. Inside was a pile of rice cakes wrapped in oak leaves. Their sweet, tantalizing aroma wafted into my room. Today was May 5th. Boys' Day. Boys' Day. Every house I could see from my fifth floor balcony seemed decorated in a veritable army of carp, banners, and streamers. While the images and scents took me back to my childhood, I looked around in the box one more time and came up with a letter. Even the sealed envelope was scented with sweet cake fragrance. Fragrance. The note began with, "Are you doing well?" and ended on, "I made plenty of rice cakes, so you can hand some out to your flatmates." I looked at the cakes again. It would obviously violate a few laws of physics for any one person to eat them all. I did like sweets, but there was no freaking way I could put away this many at once, and they'd go bad before I finished them all anyway. Gonna need reinforcements. There were dozens of guys around my age living in this building. One each should easily do it. Besides, since I wanted to be on good terms with them, bringing them a little something wasn't a bad move either. I stood up, box in arms. It was heavier than I thought. About 30 minutes later, I found myself in a dinky shoebox, collapsed on the floor, and in abject horror. Damn it. It was Golden Week on top of Boys' Day. If I had a brain, maybe I would have thought of it. Most of my flatmates had gone home for a long holiday. I'd handed out what I could to whom was around, but there was still maybe a dozen odd sweets sitting in that box. My stereo burst into climax on a bombastic piano concerto. It may as well have bursted into laughter. Who else do I know? I had been living here a whole month, for crying out loud, and aside from people at the firm who were my age, I knew one other person. When I realized that, I hoisted the box of sweets into my arms and left the room. I had forgotten to turn off the stereo. Through my closed door, I could hear the piano music it was playing. The sun was just starting to set. The entire world felt gentle and warm. I took the emergency stairs down. From there, I could see the decorative streamers fluttering and floating in the May sky, as if they themselves were fish swimming in the balls. In the balls. And as a side note, maybe if I'd been thinking rationally and carefully, I would have realized that since tomorrow was a normal workday, all my flatmates would be returning sometime tonight. So apparently, not only did piano music not turn me into an ocean of calm, but it did turn me into a total blockhead. Alright, you fruitcake. There were the sounds of sweeping inside of the timbres of a piano at the Shimikai shrine today. Swish, swish, swish. And of course, the Mind Maiden. The Shrine Maiden conducting this broomstick symphony with rigid tempo was none other than Minori Kimiyake. Kamiyake? Yes. There were paper carp ornaments swimming to and fro in midair on either side of the shrine gate. The shrine gate. Hi, if it isn't Mr. Michikushi. That name is ridiculous. As soon as she noticed me, she stopped sweeping and walked my way. Her sneakers crunched on the sandy ground with each step. Sup, dude? Long time no see. Since yesterday. As bored as ever, Man, that was really rude. Fortunately or unfortunately, the shrine maiden here was the only one I could count on at the moment. Speaking of which, you know what was really weird? No matter how much abuse she rained down on me, it just made her cuter and cuter in my eyes. This guy is kind of fucking weird. Minori. Oh, Minori. You have to come off the bench big time for me here. You have to come off the bench big time for me here. Be my ideal fifth man. Just take this. Don't say anything. Just take it. What? With that, I handed over the box of sweet cakes. Huh? What is this? It's so heavy. What's up with your eyes, bruh? Your eyes are too close to your mouth. Your mouth is just kind of like a little line. And your nose is just a dot. She gracefully braced the box against herself with one arm and opened the lid with the other hand. Hand? This is the 9th time in a row, she said quietly, then heaved a huge sigh at the box. What? 9th time? I can't do this. Come on, one more can't hurt. Not gonna happen, man. Not gonna happen, man. If look at one more of these, I'm going to puke. I know that the original language was Japanese, but if you're translating to English, you could do some grammar. Say, me thinks the lady doth protest to. Oh, okay. Okay, no, this was intentional. The last thing wasn't. That's not the prob. I beg of you. You're the only one I've got. I've been eating these non-stop since morning. I can't do this anymore. Ah, All right, you made me do this. Hey, what? Wait. What are you doing? It was mutual. I shoved a cake into her mouth, and she shoved an uppercut with such strength it was downright unladylike, right into my jaw. We sat down on the nice and cold stone steps, the box of cakes between us. The setting sun to our right cast our long shadows across the courtyard. Your cake was pretty tasty, actually. So it is. Or at least this one bite is. Yep, this bite sure is. This is completely obvious, but two people can't carry on a conversation with their mouths when their mouths are full of food. So whenever we got to munching, silence blanketed the lay of the land. According to her, she really and truly had been eating nothing but these cakes all day. It was no surprise, given what day it was, that families with young sons have descended into droves upon the shrine. With young sons had descended into droves. Young sons. Since there was no way etiquette would allow her to refuse when those families offered her sweets, she had to eat them with a smile on her face. And that had happened 8 times to her already. Right when she was thinking, I seriously can't eat any more of these. Of course, that's when I appeared with my box of cakes. Finally, after one little debate, she'd been convinced of a compromise. 1 cake. There were 14 cakes in the box that I originally brought over here. Though my own heroic efforts, there were now only 9 left. Spent oak leaf wrappers laid scattered, wobbling a little in the breeze. I'd eaten 5. Minori had her 1. This left 8. And I've gotten a mitt. Sometimes it's me fucking up, but then other times it's like this that trips me out. And I got to admit. What? Don't do that. You've still got a long way to go, Mr. Mizoguchi. Right. Since Minori had polished off 9 whole cakes over the course of the day, she deserved her bragging rights. Champion class eater after, I know throwing them away would be a waste, but don't go overboard, okay? Oh, and here, have some tea. I washed down the crumbs in my mouth with the tea. What's with food? What's with visual novels and food? With the tea from the thermos she offered me. I'm trying to remember. I played. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I played two ones that have like an emphasis on food. The last one I played was like that was the whole gimmick was that there was different foods, and each food represented a girl. She apparently prepared the tea because she knew she had lots of visitors today. For that preparation, I truly thanked Boys Day. But for the nauseating lump in my belly, I cursed Boys Day from the bottom of my stomach. Man, it's been one heck of a day. Auntie Mizuho is out of town, so it's just been me the entire day. She gave a deep sigh. I got the feeling that it wasn't just physical exhaustion. She was probably also pissed at having lost an entire day out of the Golden Week. The Auntie Mizuho, to whom she had referred to, by the way, was the head priestess aunt she told me about. She was also, of course, the owner of this fine property. Not that I ever saw her around. Minori started to gripe her way through everything that had happened today. About how she had gone through formal robes so early in the morning to go buy carp streamers. About how she had to keep meticulous track of all the receipts, too. About how she spilled hot tea all over someone's dog. About how she regretted that she'd made cold barley tea instead. About how how bored she had gotten when no one came, about how family would magically show up in the shrine courtyard whenever she went to start playing the piano, about how she thought of her own little brother every single time she saw a little boy, about how, man, he was so cute back then, but now just shot through her head every single time. We were quite the pair. There she was, chattering away as if she wanted to convey every single moment of her waking day to me, and there I was, listening and nodding appropriately. The winds were growing and a little chilly, and aside from the transient sounds of passing vehicles, all was silent. The setting sun was dipping a little lower every moment. I felt a strange desolation as I waited the dying sun, stranger still, and intricately linked with the realization that here and now, in this place, I was enjoying the time we were spending together. Even though we didn't really know each other, even though our paths didn't cross much, even though we weren't pushed to be together, still, we were becoming fast friends. Perhaps it was at this point that I started realizing that there was something really nice about our strange relationship. May is wonderful, isn't it? She said, out of the blue. Out of the blue sky she was currently gazing at, for instance, what? Out of the blue. Yeah, I almost, I asked almost reflectively. May, if I ask you, May, if you ask me, is the most wonderful month out of the entire year. What about Christmas? Is that so? For me, honestly, May was a useless period between spring and rainy season. Oh, and there was Golden Week, and that was it. And of course, if I was going to be depressing, if I was going to be depressing, what? If I was going to be depressing, there was freshman blues. Talk about Mayday. My dear, my dear Mr. Mizoguchi. Moguchi sounds very dirty. Have you ever looked outside and felt life all around you this season? And we had yet another random question from Minori. She was still looking up at the sky. I answered no, but Minori just forged onward as if I hadn't said a word. Of sprouting grass. A letter. A letter. It was all like the opening paragraph to a letter. It took me a while to recognize that. Of newborn leaves. The stems that grew. The tender breeze. Whatever that word is. Whatever that word is. The sweetest scent of the freshest tea. Fuck! She spoke those phrases one by one, each revealing a facet of May I never knew, each an ode to May I never sang. Her voice was clear and carried far, surrounding me with the way things do in a dream. It takes a forest, or a wilderness, not a village. I think you'll know what I'm talking about if you go to the place where nature can seek you out. And when it finds you, the smell of the plants, the song of the trees, you feel life like never before. Life from within, telling you keep moving forward, no matter what. There was joy in her words, somewhere, everywhere, and a faint smile on her face, as if she was entrusting me with a silent secret none could keep. That's why I love May. I love how this is the season where the entire world makes you stand up and take notice that it's alive. And when she turned to me and smiled, for the briefest of moments, I saw something incredible in her. This is too much. Oh, wait. Wait, who's that? No worries, no worries. Was that me or was that her? What's going on? It wasn't quite dark yet. In one of my hands was a supermarket bag, inside of which was a lot of folded paper packages labeled with Kimiyake Shrine. In the other hand was a box of 6 remaining sweet cakes. Minori, do I really have to take your overstock? No, you're thinking of it wrong. You're supposed to take a good luck bath with iris petals on Boys' Day, right? I've never heard of that. This is the first time hearing of Boys' Day. What the fuck is Boys? What's Boys' Day? This is a gift from the bottom of my heart. This is a gift. What's Boys' Day? Boys' Day. Uh, I'm looking at Boys' Day. May 5th. The modern is a festival to pray on the health and courage of boys. Families of sons celebrate this day by flying carp-shaped windsocks called kinobori. So the craziest little thing happened. The craziest little thing happened. The craziest little thing. In the middle of my recording, I lost storage on my computer, and so it just stopped recording. So I have like 10. I want to say like 10 minutes. I played the game for like 10 minutes, and then I didn't realize that it wasn't recording anymore. So you didn't really miss much. I mean, there's not really much going on in this game, honestly. It's just two fucking people. It's not getting it in. So yeah, I thought I was recording. It stopped recording after like 20 minutes. So hopefully this works again. I pray to God. So anyway. The sun was in my eyes, so I couldn't see much. From what I could make out, Minori seemed to have a wide grin on her face. So it took a long time to process what she was saying. Initiating bombing sequence in T-minus 10. 9. Oh, she's gonna hit him with a broom. Because he fell asleep again. It took all the energy of my sleep-addled... Addled? Well, you check recording words. Sleep-addled. Fuck. Sleep-addled brain had to decipher her transmissions. Fortunately, I was successful. Unfortunately, the content was invariable. She's gonna kill me. I don't want to save. I already saved. But so far, it seemed like she hadn't realized that I was awake. 7, 6. Minori's count was like a metronome, completely on time. Well, if she was gonna be that predictable, then she was about to witness the best dodge ever. 5. Bring it on. Launch. The shaft. The shaft. Can't get my mind out of the gutter. The shaft smacked me in the middle of my forehead, clean through my brain. Her shaft. Wait, her counting. That wasn't how it's supposed to go, right? The shaft. Oh, the shaft. Pain, beyond my dreams of pain I have ever known. My body writhed uncontrollably. Of course, my back griddle on the snow ground brought even more pain. Yeah. Oh, you're awake now. I wanted to ask her how would it have been possible for anyone to sleep through that, but I was in too much pain. Seriously, I didn't have it in me in words. You ungrateful, unappreciative, lying jerk. You tell me you like my music, and then you go and fall asleep while I'm pouring all my heart and soul into playing that piece just for you. It was completely my fault. I would have apologized, but she was still ranting and raving while yanking on my cheek, so I didn't think that my forgiveness was forthcoming. I mean, what is this? I felt so happy while I was playing for you. Then you came out and... Oh my god, shame on me for even thinking you might appreciate it. You bitch. Mizuki, Mr. Mizoguchi, you little bitch. Yeah, little mouth. Repenting for your sins yet? Yes, ma'am. Minori, I said that hurts. And you haven't said you're sorry, have you? I'm sorry. Oh well, alright. I'm letting you off easy, hear ya? She finally let go of my cheek. Took no stretch, no pun intended, of the imagination to know how red they were by now, of the shaft. But now, just what they was this thing that I was feeling all over the shaft. Next thing, oh, next thing, thou shalt not fall asleep, comprehende? That's Spanish for comprehende. For crying out loud, what was this thing I was feeling all over? Oh wow, it's like I'm your older sister or something. And I wanted to ask her, would you please stop smiling like that? What? My back. Stop hurting. Bring the microphone close to me, but it keeps fouling. Okay. Oh shit. The Kamikaze shrine stood, draped in rays of orange and red sunlight. Both me and my tree's clothing, and the tree's clothing, whoops, fluttered gently in the soft breeze. Well, how about it? We've been jumping from topic to topic, and now we were on. Since you're always so bored, Mr. Mizuguchi, we need to find you a hobby. Rather, that was what Minori was talking about. Oh, how about movies? Well, I don't really keep up with them. Do you have any suggestions and things I should watch? Why are you so angular? It's not like I'm a film buff either. What genres of movies do you like? Anything. Well, nothing too bizarre. That is. Well, what a fucking wet noodle. I used to go watch whatever was popular back then when I actually had spare time, but nowadays I haven't had the time to go watch anything at all. Well, let me see. Of the stuff you've seen recently, there was this one oh I've seen recently. Oh, there's one called Under the Starless Sky. Not very well known though. What's it like? Oh, it's pretty depressing actually. There's a best friend who dies, and well, let's just say that you'll either love it or hate it. As for me, I like it a lot. Well, if I had some spare time, I'll go rent it. Are you saying that? Are you saying that? Or are you really gonna watch it? Maybe. Oh, for crying out loud. Why do I have to be stuck thinking of the hobby for you? Sorry. Oh well, obviously, you got lots of spare time, so you go check it out soon, right? No, I don't have that much free time. You just said you have time! Mr. Michiguchi, do you know what we call someone who sleeps over 10 hours on Saturday and then still comes? Because he's and then still comes because he's bored to the local shrine. He's because he and then still comes. What do we call someone who sleeps over 10 hours on Saturday and then still comes because he's bored on the local shrine? What the fuck is going on? Someone who has too much time on his hands because because he's he's got a lot on his hands, you know what I'm saying? Man, it's not fair, I'll tell you. I'm so busy. I'm always being run off my feet here. Even someone who didn't know her that well could tell that that was a total lie. Oh, oh well, that's it. That's it. Next time, you can sweep the shrine grounds, and that way you won't be bored, and I won't be so overworked. Sounds good, right? Wait just one damn second. How how about I say no? I'm on vacation. I don't want to lift a finger. Hmm. My brilliant idea goes unappreciated. Man, she looked peeved when I shot her down, which means she must have been serious. She really was an Iron Maiden. Oh well, I couldn't find robes for you to wear anyway. It wouldn't have worked. I'd have to put on priest's vestments. I'd have to put on priest vestments just to do some sweeping. Oh, well, that's me talking. Oh, Mr. Mizuguchi, you're playing hard to get, aren't you? You secretly want to do it, you big tease. Hell no. Aw, shucks. Anyway, what about those robes are totally essential. These are like, well, tell me, Mr. Mizuguchi, do you ever think about going to work in a t-shirt and jeans? No way, right? Same with me. Well, actually, in this day and age, there were companies that had dress codes as lax as that. That aside, yeah, well, fuck. Here you go. I knew what she meant. You know, I was like that too when I first started. I used to think like, but what's wrong with normal clothes? However, however, well, see, I was in 8th grade when I first started working here. Oh wait, before you go. Oh wait. Oh wait, before you go, but school kids shouldn't be working. I'm technically just helping out with the family business. And what's wrong with being rewarded with some money on the side? But no, if I was the very definition of a part-time job, actually and technically. But if I pointed that out, she would be all over me. So I kept my mouth shut. Well, that was kind of cold of me, wasn't it? So of course these robes are really put these cobes these robes were really hard to put on when I was just starting out. At first I didn't even bother. I just wore my school uniform while I worked, and then lots of times some old lady would walk by and she'd say to me, "Oh, you're such a pretty girl, aren't you now? Here, why don't you let Granny give you a little something?" And then she'd give me candy, even though I was totally being paid to work. I hope you didn't refuse. Oh, I ate everything. It was so, like, amazingly delicious. You're so basic. Wait. No, that has nothing to do with anything. Interesting. So she hated being seen, misrepresented, as this nice girl who volunteered for these things out of the kindness of her heart. So from that day forth, I put on the robes of the priestess while on the job. It worked like I expected. When I wore this, everyone who saw me understood that I was a shrine maiden. Fair enough. After all, it would be sacrilege for someone to hollow on hallowed grounds wearing shrine maiden robes to not actually be a shrine maiden. Hmm. So I looked at Minori. I'd been coming here so often lately that she was by now a familiar sight, but still, when I examined her closely, there was something odd, special, maybe about her. With the exception of the last few days. Sorry, I didn't visit shrine, I didn't visit shrines except on New Year's Day. So maybe it was more of in traditional Japanese clothes were an odd sight to me, not just shrine maiden robes. Come to think of it, those robes are a pretty rare sight. Oh, that's me. I found myself reaching out to touch one of her long sleeves, which honestly looked uncomfortable and cumbersome, before I could even stop to think about what I was doing. Wow, you wouldn't know just by looking at it, but this was well made. And of this fine high-grade material. Why do I keep fucking saving like a dipwad? You know, a millennium ago, people all used to wear clothes like these. I didn't press. I pressed the left click button, not the right click button. Fucking game. Exact. Exactly, a millennium ago. Not anymore. I cut myself off there. Because sure enough, how strange, but I could feel the spirit of ages long past just in that clothing. Even though they were a modern manufacture and being worn by a modern high school girl who worked at a modern, brand spanking new shrine. Speaking of which, aren't they cumbersome to work in, those robes? For instance, I heard from girls that formal robes that they wore for coming of age day were impossible to put on without someone helping you. Hmm, well, it does require some skill, but once you get used to it, isn't it a lot simpler than normal clothes? Top, bottom, and a sash? That's it, you're done. The idea, as conceptualized if not described by Minori, was simple enough. Yeah, they might be kind of strange in this day and age, but I love them to be honest. They're so cool. They make you look so dignified and stuff. Kind of like a three-piece suit does for you, Mr. Mizoguchi. Cool, huh? Yeah, pretty cool. What, you don't think so? Uh, I don't know. I want to be too forward. Uh, I'll just put it a guess so. That's kind of in line with his character. His character's kind of a nothing burger. Yeah, well, that's most. I guess that's most VN protagonists. They're kind of just like supposed to be like blank slates that you like supposed to like put yourself in their shoes. But I wouldn't mind like a one with personality. But he's kind of unlikable. That's the thing. You can always kind of like glean a little bit of personality from them, even though like they try really hard to like make it as like monotone and blank slate as possible. But he's kind of a is it blank slate to call someone like way too like rigid and dry? I feel like that in and of itself is like its own personality trait. Uh, I'd be in line with his character. Well, now that you mention it, I guess so. Put a long bow in her hands, and she'd look pretty, menacing, and sleek, all right. Except that she'd be mistaken a part of the school archery club. But oh, of course it is. And just imagine wielding a nagi na nagi in this getup. It'd be like an historical drama. What the fuck is that? Hello, what's that? Mm, nagi. Oh, it's like a pole with like a sword on the end. Who the hell? Who the fuck would want to use that? Just then, I was gripped with the unmistakable conviction that she'd never seen a historical drama in her life. And as I flashed her a long side look, Minori took up a ready stance and held that damnable broom she'd used to bomb my head as if she was about to use. She bullseye the shaft of her the shaft of her the shaft smacking me didn't hurt as much as the bristles that jammed my scalp like needles. Oh, she smacked me with her shaft. Minori, what exactly did you have against me? Nothing at all. I gave Minori a light chop on the forehead. Contrary to Newton's third law, for my action there was not an equal or opposite reaction. No, she exploded. Ow! Look, Mizoguchi, what kind of low-life scum hits a girl, huh? You look like a PNG. And what? Hitting me with a broom for no reason at all is acceptable? Sure it is. Sure it is. Sure it is. Why'd I hit her again? What the fuck? Why am I a dick? I didn't mean to do that. Is that allowed? What the fuck? Is that allowed? What the fuck? How can you tolerate someone like me? Jeez. We went on like that. Nothing good, nothing bad. We just jabbered all day long. That was how I wrapped up my oh so precious vacation time. Objective. I had a thought and it went away. Objectively speaking, yes. Absolutely nothing had been accomplished in that time. But for my part, I thought it was pretty nice. But also for my part, I found myself wishing that Minori thought the same. How old is this girl? You're 22 and is she like in high school? May 8th, Sunday, noon. The delicate flavor of dried seaweed diffused in my mouth, followed quickly by rice. I savored it all. The delicious notes of vinegar and salt and the canned tuna were all the better played out in the rice. Ah, this is food of the gods. But that's a convenience store rice ball, you nitwit. Ah, Minori, you're early today. You know, I really never thought someone would come just to eat lunch at hallowed ground. Ingenuity happens to be a very necessary quality in company men. I'll have you know. Ingenuity. First of all, you're not being ingenious, you're being weird. Second of all, for crying out loud, do all company men have as much free time as you do? Isn't it obvious? You're supposed to have free time when you're on break. That's the point. All the rest of the time, I'm like a Cidersdale pulling the cart. What the fuck? Wait, Clydesdale? Oh, come on. You're just a trainee right now. How hard could they possibly work you? Details. Here, come on. I bought you some as well. I said as I produced a tuna rice ball from my convenience store bag. I don't really like seaweed, honestly. I don't like seaweed. I haven't had it. My sister like gets like those bags of like seaweed that are just like the little squares in like a tin bag. And it's too salty. I don't like the flavor, honestly. I haven't had it with like rice or tuna, but by itself I just don't like seaweed. It's just, and I like salty stuff. It's just I don't know. I haven't had it in a while. It's not just the salt though. It's like this weird kind of like fishy aroma that I don't like. I don't like fish. I'm not a fish guy. Um it's like a mix of like fish and salt and it's like the worst combo. Mm, but I haven't had it in a while, so I already ate plenty of lunch, thanks. And anyway, I don't eat the blasphemy that canned tuna is. What? How dare you make a mockery of this tuna? Yeah, I have no idea what you're getting at, getting so fired up here. But, you gotta have plump or skipjack tuna or something like that on your rice ball, eh? What's skipjack? Plum. Uh, Unbelievable. Infidel. You don't get it. You don't understand anything. Mr. Michiguchi, I really kind of sort of don't get it, but, you know what? Your passion for canned tuna? Yeah, totally creepy. Passion. That's right. I love canned tuna so much that if I could marry it, I would. Canned tuna forever. That's my personality trait. I love tuna. Oh yeah, definitely creepy. Why don't you just go do that? Shame on you. So you refuse to become a card-carrying member of the liberal socialist canned tuna party, do you? You regret that, okay, dude? Oh no. If such a political party was ever formed, Japan is finished. You leave me with no choice. All right then, Minori. How about this? And this time I reached in. Wait, I reached in and took a nice big tuna sushi roll. Oh? Oh. I got a reaction. Oh, this got a reaction. Seemed like this was just the ticket. Hey, take it already. Consider it rent for the time I spent here. Oh. Whoops. Oh. Well, well then. I guess it would be rude for me not to take it. Oh, this is me giving something to you. I was confused. Because you're so fucking overdramatic about the tuna. She was totally pretending not to be interested, but the wild gleam in her eyes told a totally different story. I take it that you like tuna sushi rolls then, hey Minori? Blah, 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 blah. Have a problem with that? No, not at all, but... I mean, come on. That's quality maguro here. Some gristled master fisherman caught this guy, brought him to my market. He gotta be tastier here. Sorry, I'm sitting in a weird angle. You really kind of sort of lost me for a second half there. Fine then, Mr. Michiguchi. I'll just have to put it in terms that you can understand. You know how everyone orders maguro when they go to sushi places? Don't you see? Maguro is the sushi king of kings. No, I don't care anymore, so just eat up already. What? Oh, now you don't want to hear talk about fucking tuna? You just don't understand. You have no clue about how slighted you make the maguro feel. Sorry, I had to pause. My profoundest apologies, Minoro. Minori. What the fuck? I don't think I would ever be able to walk a kilometer in a fish's shoes. Fish's shoes, even if I spent the rest of my life on such a project. Well, no point in waiting, eh? She peeled off the plastic wrap, exposing the roll proper. The seaweed made tiny, pleasant, crinkling sounds. The seaweed carried the taste of the ocean. Oh, it's me. While the rice carried the tangly bits of vinegar, the flavors spread like the... I'm not gonna read that shit. What? Minori Kamike could not conceal her astonishment at the wonders of tuna sushi rolls. Is me monologuing? I don't know why I keep pressing that. Not even the slightest hint in forthcoming retort. Disappointing, I tell you. Such an obvious little shrine maiden, I tell you. Oblivious little shrine maiden, I tell you. Wow, I could search the world 10 times over and never find anything as delicious as this. Actually, your search would end at any convenience store. Oh, will you just shut up already? Tasty is as tasty does. Why did I get the feeling that we were going in circles here? Oh well, I chose to ignore it. For a time, our little lunch party atop the stone steps continued in silence. The warm rays of spring sunshine seemed to shine right through me. Spring sunshine. The clear May sky was blue, endless, so far away. Same shit, different story. As the sun shone down on us, the sounds of a drinking green tea resounded through the confines of the Kamike shrine. Well, rather, the sounds of me slurping it all down. You're such a pig, Mizoguchi. Fuck. What? Aren't you supposed to make noises when you drink tea like that? Where in the world did you hear such outrageous lies? And not only that, you believe in them. If you keep doing that, I'm gonna hit you. Sorry. It was becoming quite obvious we were the parents in this relationship. What the fuck? And so I resigned myself to enjoying the tea. this time without a single sound. The funny thing was, now I was drinking convenience store bottled green tea, and the scarcely refined teacup that Minori had produced. Man, man, green tea hits the spot, alright. Minori chirped as she drank tea from the teacup, the teacup, just as old and classy as mine. Maybe it was because she was in her shrine maiden robes, but she looked divine. So wonderful it hurt. But my divine image crumbled away when she produced a package of cream puffs, seemingly from out of nowhere. You definitely gotta have cream puffs along with tea, right? Funny. So here she was, looking refined in a traditional Japanese shrine maiden outfit, and utterly blasphemous words that anyone could knew anything about the traditional Japanese tea ceremony would no doubt kill her for even thinking, fuck you. And to make things worse, I produced a chocolate pastry from my convenience store bag and said, yeah, good call. We nodded at each other, throwing centuries of tradition and refinement out the window as we did. That's That was how our butchered tea ceremony went, while Sei no Riku, the legendary tea master of ages long past, rolled in his grave. Probably. It's just drinking tea and eating cream puffs. The fuck is the problem? In the blink of an eye, 20 odd minutes had already passed since we'd started our little tea party. But since the beginning is a delicate time, let's start at the beginning. What? Here's how it all went down. Minori finished her job quickly, as usual, and then when she saw me with the bottle of tea, she bought some cups out of the shrine. Can I go back? But since the beginning of it is a delicate time, let's start at the beginning. The fuck? And so I'd figure, fine, we'd just drink some tea together, and then she'd pipe down. Piped up. Oh, it's because it's green tea. Come on, if we're gonna have green tea, a tea party, we need to go get some sweets, huh? Somehow, after that, we ended up in a field trip to a nearby convenience store. Minori had waltzed in, as if visiting a convenience store in priestess garb was totally normal. To my slight surprise, every single time I would put something in my basket, Minori would put it back on the shelf. By the time we checked out, there hadn't been a thing in the basket that Minori hadn't picked. And somehow I got to pay for everything. You're welcome. This goes without saying, but I smacked her on the forehead hard for that. We both ended up staring at the sky blankly. It must have been quite the sight. Good thing no passers-by came. They'd have died of laughter at us. Bird songs carried us from far away. Sunbeams found their shining way to our patch of ground. It was the beginning of a gloriously beautiful afternoon. The rich, sweet smells of custard and chocolate wafted all around us. There was something awfully wrong about this. What? Yeah, what exactly? Oh. She emphasized her repeated words by pointing a finger at the sky. She was gesturing towards some of the thin clouds that spread themselves out like veins covering a dream across the sky. Veils covering the dream. I said veins. Kind of look like veins. Those clouds are 10 kilometers or so above sea level. I can fucking do that. I couldn't even imagine just how that high was. I had to think 3 times higher than Mount Fuji to sort of understand it. I stared at the sky and those clouds that I would never be able to touch, no matter how hard or desperately I stretched my fingers towards them. We stopped talking, and we stopped reaching for more tea and more sweets too. It was better to just gaze at the sky. And then, after a little while had passed, God's in his heaven. All's right with the world. Yeah. The sun seemed to have melted a few thin layers of the misty clouds. It waxed brighter still now, and if it were poking fun at the two of us. My bags of sweet made crinkling sounds when I reached the hand inside. I chose a chocolate at random. I maneuvered the candy so that I held the piece between my teeth, while it melted most marvelously in my mouth. Next to me, the Shrine Maiden was gently blowing in her tea. Certainly, I'd seen the sky thousands of times in my life, but perhaps this was the first time I allowed myself to really observe it with all my might, without any other mission or distraction. Oh man, I wasted so much time here today. Well, duh, she replied as she sipped her tea, not trying to make me feel better at the least. I'd only bought a 50 milliliter bottle of tea in the first place, so that we drunk it all in no time. The empty bottle wobbled a bit in the breeze, then toppled, made a dull, echoing thwack on the ground. Oops. Minori stood, walked over to where the bottle laid, and made to pick it up. When she reached down, her long sleeves nearly brushed the ground. She grabbed the bottle hurriedly, with the bottle safely in her right hand. She asked me with a smile, "Want to go for another round?" Funny, I just complained that I wasted so much time here, and yet now I was nodding, and the sunlight was very, very bright. I stood up and looked inside my wallet briefly. Then I turned to Minori and remarked, "This time you're buying." The winds were gentle, and the sunlight was warm. The skies were blue, and the clouds overhead were white and wispy. Minori had made me pay for everything again. That's why I knew. God's in his heaven. All's right with the world. Uh, hey, baby. Okay, let me see. I want to save on Paul. Yeah, I recorded like 20 minutes, and then my software just kind of just ganked up on. It's like ganked on me. Like it just decided to not work anymore because I didn't have any more storage. So I wasted like 10 minutes. That's why it feels a lot shorter this time around, but I'll continue this later on. So far nothing fucking happens. Who would have thunk it? Nothing happens in a visual novel. Good fucking riddance.